Well, you guys, I finally got this piece finished. I got my crime and craft filmed and it's uploading, and I'm gonna just edit this little piece in because I wanted to just show you what it is we're making today on crime and craft while we talk about Dalia Dippolito. I am gonna edit in some outtakes from the other two versions that I did that wouldn't upload for some reason. Then I had to like condense the files. Anyways, I also am gonna impose down in the bottom a time lapse of adding the glitter portion of this because it was in the other takes. And so yeah, that's what's about to happen. So enjoy. Take three. Take three. It is take three. You guys, it's been a minute of trying to get this right, but you gotta do what you gotta do till you get it right, right? Hi, I can't play with you right now. Yeah. Welcome to Crime and Craft. This will be the first episode in this series, which I plan on posting every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, unless something goes way haywire. 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 And so, yeah, we're just gonna get right into it. This is a wild case about Dalia Dippolito. I'm going to tell you the whole story, but ultimately, if you want just a quick synopsis to see if you want to stay tuned for this episode or not, an escort hires a hitman to take care of her husband because her multiple times of calling him in on probation violation failed, and she wanted his money, allegedly, and she wasn't getting it fast enough, so therefore he had to go. But the hitman she hired was an undercover cop, and Cops the TV show was there to get a whole bunch of really great footage, which I'm going to show you guys all, a whole bunch of clips, and I'm going to tell you the story while creating a piece of artwork. I will have all of how I did this Tumblr from start to finish. I will link it down in the description box when I get that video done and edited, which should be by mañana. So, but we'll see. So before we get into this case for real, there is a bad word warning. Viewer discretion is advised. She was an escort, and she talked like one you would imagine how they would in text messages and things. And so I'm going to show a little bit of that. It's not too crazy, but be advised. And also everything I talk about in this opinion is going to be like opinion. I'm not certified, qualified in any way. I'm not credentialed. I'm not a psychiatrist, psychologist, a doctor, an attorney, a judge, a police officer, etc. This is all going to be opinions and what happened in these videos and what happened in court. I hope I don't forget anything because I have told the story a number of times before right now. And I think I'm going to add some like outtakes or clips from the first two times I filmed this at the end of this video. If you're interested, it's already going to be, you know, an hour-long video. Mike Dippolito was a child from a really rough upbringing. His whole family was addicted to something of some sort, and he ended up being put in the care of his grandparents. Ended up being very high-functioning alcoholics, and Mike started to drink by the age of 10. Yes, I said 10. And also he started selling pot in school by the age of, well, I don't know what age, but it was like 9th grade, which, I mean, I don't know what age most drug dealers start. What do I know? Also, I'm dealing with a cold, so I'm going to try not to sniffle too much or let any grossness run down my face. Dalia had, in comparison, a relatively normal upbringing, but what is normal anyways? I think the biggest takeaway from what I could find about Dalia's upbringing was that she just didn't have to deal with any consequences, which is evident. Mike and Dalia met when Mike was out of town on a work trip, and he was feeling a little bit lonely, and he had, you know, none of his old vices, none of his old things that he would lean into. And so he just wanted the care and company of a nice young lady. And he looked him up and found an escort service, which turned out to be Dalia's. He called her up. She answered like on the first ring. I'm over like within 35 minutes. And they hung out. And by the end of it, Mike mentioned he was going to the beach or somewhere. And she was like, oh, I should show up. And then she did. And they had a second meeting. I don't think she actually charged him for this second encounter. I think she knew what she was doing. And at one point, Mike said that he was endeared to her because she was so like innocent. Maybe he didn't know that it was her company. Mike and Dalia hung out a couple times, and this ultimately led to Mike's divorce from his first wife. Warranted, I would say. 5 days after the divorce was finalized, Mike and Dalia got married. They got hitched.
And proposed to Dalia with a $20,000 engagement ring. She said yes. It appeared as though the concept of love at first sight wasn't exclusive to fairy tales, and Michael had finally met his princess.
I'm gonna have to move this in case you guys know or don't know what we're watching today. It's on my this. I didn't tell you guys this earlier because she says she didn't know this earlier. So I'm trying to keep the timeline consistent. But she would say that she didn't know that he was in trouble with the police before they got married. I think she did, but we'll just go with what she said. And Mike was in trouble before he met Dalia. He was actually on probation when they met because he got wrapped up in this like telemarketing scheme and ended up defrauding. You know what I mean? He took money from people, a lot of them elderly, unfortunately. And it was a telemarketing scheme where people would invest in foreign currency. I don't even know how that would work, but that was the deal. That was the gig. That's what he was in trouble for. He went to jail for less than 2 years, prison, and then ended up being put on probation for 28 years, which I've talked to a couple people. I'm just looking for my heat gun. I've talked to a couple people since reviewing this case, and they said that that's like unheard of, except for the fact that it's a federal crime and they give you such a long probation because they know you're going to mess up. It was right behind me this whole time. So they know you're going to mess up, and so that's why they do it like that. So Dalia says that she had no idea that he was ever in trouble before they got married. That she only found out when a PO did a random check at her place or their place. He bought a condo through her because she was a real estate agent. And so, of course, she got the commission from it, whatever. And we'll put that right here. Nope. Yes. Right here. Canvas. Don't touch that. So Mike says she knew way before then, but she said she didn't. Who knows what actually happened when? That's just what they said. According to the people around them, they were very lovey-dovey. Apparently, they were all over each other to the point where it kind of made everybody around them a little bit uncomfortable because it was just so much. I mean, they were still in the honeymoon phase. Like, this was early on.
On February 2nd, 2009, Mike and Dalia made it official and got married. According to reports, Dalia appeared to be a very loving wife, always embracing her husband with public displays of affection and telling him how much she adored him, even to the point where people around them started to get uncomfortable. Just over a month into their marriage, in the early morning hours of March 12th, Michael's probation officer knocked at the door, with 2 deputies standing beside him. Michael had been convicted in 2001 for a fraud operation. He served 7 months in prison and was rendered 28 years of probation. This was the first time his PO had showed up unannounced, and Michael was informed that multiple calls had come in from an anonymous source, stating that he was selling steroids and ecstasy from the house. They presented him with a warrant and began to search the premises. If the allegation were proven to be true, Michael could have been sent back to prison for over 10 years.
She said she didn't know about this probation issue or any of his legalities in his past, but until his PO came and did a random check, which, by the way, was the first time he had ever had a PO come by for a random visit. And he didn't really think much about it at the time. I mean, random PO checks are supposed to happen, so why not? But this wouldn't be the last random odd occurrence that would happen. Like this one time, she felt really bad for him. She was like, you have been going through so much. I think we should just go to dinner. Let's go to dinner at this really nice restaurant. It'll be on me. And we'll have a great time. Well, when they went to leave, the police were surrounding his car and said they needed to search it. And he said, okay, whatever, it's fine, it's cool. Because to him, he knew that they would find nothing. So why not let them search it? And they ended up finding, I think, a little baggie of, I think in the gas, like where you open the gas tank in, like, so where on your car, if you open that little, and before you open the gas seal, the officers were like, why are you so calm, Dalia? Like, wouldn't you have some kind of reaction? Me personally, if Jeff and I were out to dinner and we got randomly searched or whatever, and they found cocaine or any illicit substance in the car or anything, I'd be like, I don't, somebody had to put it there. So we're being framed. And of course, the police always hear, it wasn't me, it wasn't mine, I didn't do it. Nothing. Because of her not reaction, a police officer later would testify that that's one of the reasons why they didn't really charge him, was because of her flat affect to what was going on.
Again found nothing. 2 weeks later, they went out to dinner, and on their way back to the car, police were waiting for them once more in the parking lot. Only this time they found a small bag of cocaine stashed inside a cigarette pack. Michael immediately broke down in tears, claiming that he had been set up and knew nothing about the drugs. Incredibly, the police believed him and decided not to make an arrest. They later testified that the first reason was due to the conspicuous and unusual hiding place for the cocaine. The second reason was their suspicions of his wife Dalia, who appeared emotionless as her husband was having a nervous breakdown. On the ride home, as Dalia was driving, Michael realized that she was the only one who knew where they were going for dinner, and was the only person who had access to the car. So he asked her point blank if she had anything to do with it, and the accusation wasn't taken well. She put the pedal to the floor and got up to 190 on the freeway, all the while screaming at the top of her lungs, claiming to be astonished that he could even accuse her of such a thing. Out of fear of his life, Michael apologized and said that he didn't mean it. The next morning, Dalia was aware that Michael's suspicions had arisen, and knew she had to divert his attention somehow. So just after making him breakfast, she gave him the incredibly exciting yet completely fictitious news that she was pregnant. Michael was ecstatic. They went out and bought baby books, and the dubious circumstances that occurred the night before appeared to have been forgotten. That very same day, Dalia contacted her ex-lover, Mike Stanley, a guy she had already used for money and dumped on 3 separate occasions beforehand, yet managed to reel him back in with a single text.
So that's one of the texts that I was like, things are going to get illicit. We're introduced to a lot of information in this video. At the end of this situation, and they were headed home, Dalia was driving, and okay. Someone that does substances wouldn't just hide their personal use stash. This is conjecture. I'm just thinking from my perspective into the minds of someone that does
A few minutes later.
the drugs. I don't know what all words I can say on YouTube yet, so I'm gonna be fumbling through some like illicit words. Anyway, they wouldn't just put their stash in some random person's car. So that's, you know, not a thing. And so it only had to be somebody that knew where they were going to dinner at, knew what kind of car he drove, and knew that he was on probation, and knew that this could put him in prison for a long time. And so Mike says, hey, Dalia, I'm not trying to accuse you, but don't you think it's kind of weird that you're the only person that really knew where we were going and the circumstances behind everything? She gets mad and she just gasses it. She floors it. He had no other option than to be like, okay, I'll let it go, because he was like in fear of his life, I'm assuming. what else would you do? But she uses this like types of ways to manipulate him. And there's so much that happens that I have omitted just because of time constraints. If I told you guys the entire story, it would take 3 episodes of at least a 1-hour video each. It is so bizarre. I'll link everything that I used for my research down in the description box. Interrogation videos and all the videos that I watched in order to source some of my information, because I watched some really in-depth videos on YouTube and some great creators gave me a whole bunch of information. So I'll link them all down in the description box. I hope you follow them all because they're amazing. If Mike got upset with her because she stole some of his money, or maybe she called his PO, or whatever it is, she would come up with something just to deflect everything off of her. And one time it was, I'm so pregnant. Okay. So listen, if I was dating a girl and she came up to me and was like, I'm pregnant, I'd be like, I'm going to need you to pee on this stick and I'm going to watch it. And then I'm going to every prenatal visit ever, because I watched too many of these where they're pregnant and then they aren't pregnant. At the end of that video, you see Mike Stanley, and Mike Stanley is the guy she was seeing in New York before she started dating Mike Dippolito. And she would turn to Mike Stanley for a lot of things that she needed. For example, she decided at one point that she wanted all of his, well, she didn't decide at one point. I think she decided, according to me, it's my opinion, I think she decided she wanted Mike's money before they even actually started dating for real. And she was using her boyfriend at the time, Mike Stanley from New York, to help her get these funds. And she even told Mike Dippolito at one point that she could get him off of probation sooner, because there's this some kind of probation, you know, when you're voting and you have to do a mail-in ballot, it's kind of like long distance probation, where you don't have to like check in before you like leave the county. And the way you would do that, according to Dalia and Mike Stanley in New York, would be to pay off the complete restitution that he was already making payments on and file a whole bunch of this paperwork. Well, she convinced Mike Stanley to either pose as someone that is a lawyer or paralegal or somebody and meet up with Mike Dippolito to exchange papers. And there was a whole bunch of transactions on checks that weren't signed, were signed in the wrong amount, were signed to the wrong people. It was like a whole bait and switch with money for a little while, where Mike was giving Dalia what he had saved up, like $90,000, $100,000 of what he had to pay back for restitution. And she was like, yes, I'm just going to match it. I'm just going to like put in my own like 90,000, and we're just going to pay back this restitution, and you're going to be off probation, and we're going to live together happily married after without any issues. And he was like, that sounds great. And so she had to have someone on her side to accept this money and do this weird scheme. And so that guy was Mike Stanley, or Mike Stanley associate. They even convinced him to sign his condo that he bought with Dalia as the real estate agent, so she could get the commission. Even that condo, they talked him into signing it over to Dalia because you don't want to have assets. It doesn't make sense. I feel like if Mike would have Googled just a little bit, he would have been like, you are full of BS, my Dalia. But I digress. She said, sign it over to me so that they convinced Mike to sign over the house to Dalia, even though I'm pretty sure that it's just marital assets. It wouldn't have made a difference. I think even someone that was signing the documentation to sign over the house into her name was like, you guys are married. What is the difference? Why are you doing this? Like, if someone was going to seize your assets and you're married to this other person, they were joint assets and they would go to. But anyways, watch the videos I have linked down in the description if you want to have the full story, the full drama, all of the things. 6 months into the relationship, the police get word of Dalia's plan to take out Mike. And this is because Dalia when Mike in New York, couldn't essentially get Mike Dippolito's probation revoked because of all of these things that kept happening. Then she was like, I'm gonna have to level this up. I'm gonna turn to another fella friend of mine named Mohammed. She always went to Mohammed for things like advice, if she needed some money, or if, I guess, she needed a hitman. So she turned to Mohammed and was like, oh, my husband's so abusive. He's mean, and I can't just divorce him because when he divorced his last wife, he took everything, and he's so violent, and I'm scared. I'm scared. Help me. Okay. So she was like, I'm scared. Help me. And he was like, I will save you. I will save you, Dalia. Anybody that's as independent and gung-ho and self-assured as Dalia, I feel like you can see that in her. And so she came to you and was like, help me. I'm so helpless. You should be like, no. Like, I see how you are. You're a strong, independent lady, like you say. What are you talking about? Anyways, I digress again. I'm going to have a lot of digressions. And at one point, she got into his car and was telling him how much she needed his help. And he had a weapon in the glove box. And he went into somewhere, a gas station or something. And when he came out, she was like gone. And so was the weapon. And his assumption at the time, allegedly, was, oh, she was going to take my weapon, handle it herself, and then who's the weapon registered to? Fill in the blanks. But anyways, so Mohammed took Dalia seriously and was like, she's for real after she stole said weapon. And he went to the police.
Tell us what happened. She asked if I knew someone who can kill her husband for her. I said, basically, no, I don't. She tells me, though, he's the nicest, sweetest nerd, but you can't stand him.
So at first, we weren't sure what we had.
Do you know where she lives? No.
At the time, we didn't know what to believe.
Her last name, I don't know.
Here's a gentleman who walks in. According to him, he's had a sexual relationship with this young lady, but he wasn't sure exactly where she lived or her last name.
Describe her. She's maybe 5'6", 5'7", dark black hair, green eyes. She's a good-looking girl. Really good-looking girl, actually.
The fact that somebody was going to get killed, it was bothering his conscience.
Did she ask you to find someone for her? Yes.
And the police took him serious. And they just so happened to have a hitman on speed dial. And said hitman was Witty Jean. And he was an undercover cop. He was ready to go. And so they fitted out Muhammad's car and the hitman's car with video and audio surveillance, and a sting was set up.
After that first interview, law enforcement realizes that they're gonna need to talk to Mohammed again.
What cops want Mohammed to do next is bold and risky. They want to set up a sting.
They say, we want you to put a wire on, and we want you to get her to outline this plan to kill her husband.
So Mohammed morphs into a confidential informant.
Mohammed sets up the meeting between Dalia and Witty Jean because Dalia trusts Mohammed. So
After Mohammed Shihada alerts Boynton Beach police about Dalia Dippolito's deadly plan, Dalia meets face-to-face with that hitman.
What she doesn't know is this hitman she's about to meet is actually Witty Jean, Boynton Beach police officer who is working undercover on this case.
They agreed on a location, which was a CVS parking lot in the city of Boynton Beach.
Pretty much parking this exact spot right here.
We had 2 cameras in the car. The cameras were positioned in the back seat. You can't help being a bit nervous as you're doing this.
Remember, there's 1,000 things that can go wrong.
She parked and got into the car, and she said, hey.
Dalia shows up to the meeting with Witty, and she's wearing a cute little sundress. She's almost flirtatious with him in the car.
We wanted to make sure that she caught my attention and my eyes.
The way she was dressed, pretty much. I'm like, okay, she wants to show off her body. So, I have to give her a compliment. I told her, hey, you look good. Hey, you look good.
She clearly thought she was talking to a hitman, and to her, this was something that had to be done.
So how soon can we get everything going?
Well, it's up to you.
I mean, I need it done like this week.
We were shocked how easily she talked about getting her husband killed.
She gave me definitely a sense of urgency. You cannot wait to make it happen. If you're gonna make it happen, you have to make it happen this week.
I'll give you a quick breakdown of what I've done so far. We talked about money, how much money she's gonna pay me. At one point she said, well, I thought that I already gave you the $1,200. $1,200 went to buy my heat, my gun, okay? And a couple hundred, for other people to do things.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I had to explain to her, $1,200 is nothing. I had to buy a gun, I had to buy a phone, I had to buy this car.
As she starts talking, what's going on in the minds of the police officers is, wow, this woman is real. This plot is real.
As a matter of fact, I've already spent more money, just to get it here.
Right.
That was the confidential informant talking about his first meeting with Dalia. Knowing how she likes to use her feminine wiles to manipulate men. I'm going to say manipulate because I don't have a better word, but it's probably accurate, allegedly. Of course she dressed cute. Why not? He says, you're not going to be able to get in contact with me after today. So are you sure you want to do this? And she says something that ends up following her for a long time, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. She ends up haggling with him a little bit over the money. I think she gave him like $7,000 deposit. At one point she was like, hey, if you want to take care of this when he goes to the bank on this day, he's going to have like $9,000-ish on him. So you could just take that. So it's crazy. She's going to get a hit out on him. And then she's going to just tell him, just rob him of whatever he has on him for your, the balance. And then you and I never have to talk to each other again, which is hella conniving.
On film handing over a photo of Michael, a photo of the house, and a $3,000 down payment for the assassination. The authorities had more than enough evidence to arrest Dalia immediately, but to further capture her intent and to really make the charges stick, they set up a second meeting with a supposed hitman, who is actually an undercover narcotics officer. And that brings us back to the very first moment Dalia looked directly into the hidden camera.
I know I got a picture. I looked at a picture of the house or whatever.
How soon can we get everything going?
Well,
What's also wild here is that she's looking directly in the camera. She looks in the camera a few times. She's obviously a little bit suspicious. But if you're going to be suspicious at all, just go full in and be like.
And that brings us back to the very first moment Dalia looked directly into the hidden camera.
I know I got a picture. I looked at a picture of the house or whatever.
How soon can we get everything going?
Well, it's up to you.
I mean, I need it done this week, but my understanding of everything was that I was going to give you what I gave you, and then that was everything. Until after the fact, and then after the fact, I guess you were going to come and find me or whatever. I mean, I'm good for it. It's not like I don't have it.
No,
anything. I mean, I know not to fuck around with you. You know certain things, whatever. You know what I mean? You obviously know where I'm at.
I could get it done by Wednesday if you want me to. You understand? But I gotta do my homework.
Right.
I gotta, know exactly where the place is and how to get out of there, how to get in and out. You understand what the neighbors want? I gotta call the cops. Report a shooting to see how fast they get to that location. There's a lot of stuff I gotta do.
Okay.
That's gonna cost me a lot of money.
So if we go ahead and we do it, at the house, how soon could you do it? And
I could do it Wednesday morning. It's gonna be I break into the house. Didn't think he was gonna be home because everybody works in the daytime.
Right.
I'm gonna think he's at work. Boom, he's not at work. Then he gets two in the head. That's it. I take a couple things with me, break a couple windows, make it look like a robbery that went bad. It's all over. I'm gone out of there. We're just going to be asking you questions, although they know it's going to be obvious what it is, and they already know, but, they're going to ask questions, because that's how they got to do it. I don't know how well you handle pressure,
then I'm, because I don't want.
No, I'm not gonna, I'm a lot tougher than what I look. I know you see and you're like, oh, what a cute little girl, whatever. But I'm not.
You are. You're extremely beautiful.
Thank you, but I just need to make sure everything's gonna take care of.
Between now and when it's done, you have to have an option to change your mind. Even if you change your mind, talking to him.
There's no changing. No, there's no I'm determined already. I'm positive, 5,000% sure. Around 6:30, 7 o'clock. He always walks the dog in the morning.
Okay.
He walks the dog across over where the lake is, and our door is always unlocked.
I'll be in the house by 6:30 Wednesday morning. 6 o'clock. All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and I guess
you'll hear from me.
I'll hear from you.
All right.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Bye.
Dahlia got out of the car and drove away.
That's the most pertinent information from the undercover informant. That was it. That they had her on tape saying she's 5,000% sure that she wants her husband to not be alive anymore, and he says he can handle it. And she ends up saying that she wants to be around because he's like, don't you want to make arrangements to be out of town or whatever? And she's like, no, I want to be here, which is bizarre because I'd imagine if you guys are watching this, then you're in the true crime realm. If something like this is going down, wouldn't you be like, I want to be on Mars when this happens? I don't want to be misconstrued of being here. I don't want any part of it. I want no parts of what's going to happen. And I don't want anybody to think I have any parts of what's going to happen. And so I want to be the furthest possible place away from here. But she doesn't do that. She's like, no, I don't want to be out of town. I want to be here. And so he's like, okay. So if you want to be here, then let's make a plan. And the plan was that on Wednesday, she was going to go to the gym early, 5 a.m. And he was going to stage a break-in and just complete the mission. It's going to be a break-in gone wrong. And the plan was that Mike would be deceased by the time that this hitman left. And Dalia was all about it. She was like, yes, I'm in. That sounds good. Let's do it. Sounds like a plan. And so that was it. The plane was in motion, and all she had to do was sit back and wait until the day arrived. The hit would take place Wednesday, August 5th, 2009. She got up, she walked the dog, she went to the gym, everything was good. And at some point during that morning gym sesh, she gets a call from the Boynton Beach Police Department, and she misses the first call, and she ends up answering the second or one of the other calls. And they're like, ma'am, there's been an incident and we need you to come home right now. And so she rushes home to see what goes on. And this is so exciting because this is one of the things that got me really interested in this case. So the Cops, the TV show, if you don't know what Cops is, it's one of the longest running TV shows that was a reality series for a long time. And they had been trying to follow around the Boynton Beach Police Department for a while, and they just couldn't time it up. They ended up making it work somewhere around the time that this case was going down. I don't know if it was because of it, whatever. That would all be conjecture and hearsay on my part. But somewhere around all of this happening, Cops ended up following the local DPD around. Nope, the local PD around. I guess it would be BPD. So they ended up following them around, and this case fell into their laps, and it was time. It was time. It was Wednesday, October 5th, and it was super early in the morning. Dalia just went to the gym, and all they had left to do was set the scene. What all they had left to do. I'm sure it took a hot minute to set that scene because it was pretty in depth from what I gather. But, to be fair, this isn't the only time that they've staged a crime scene to catch someone doing dirty. I I can't be the only one that has heard about this before. Maybe I am, whatever. Let me know in the comments. So let's just watch some of this footage. It's amazing.
I'm Sergeant Ramsey. I'm the one that called you. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry to call you. Listen, we had a report of a disturbance at your house, and there were shots fired. Is your husband Michael? Okay, I'm sorry to tell you, ma'am. He's been killed. He's been killed, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No,
Listen.
No.
Try to calm down. Listen, right now what we need to get you to the station. We need to get you to our police station. I can't let you see him, man. We have to do our job. If you want us to find his killer, okay?
So she just said, I want to see him. Like that. She said, no, a couple times, and then she wants to see him. Ugh. What kind of more? Okay. So to be fair, again, I have a curiosity that some may consider morbid because I like to watch crime docs and all sorts of stories like this. But I don't want to see a deceased person. Like that's not cute. That's not fun. Why would you want to see it? The only reason I can come up with in my head, granted, this is just me trying to justify someone else's behavior, which I do way too often, is because she wanted like proof of not life. You know what I mean? Like she wanted to see it was actually done. Kind of like, you know, back in the day, crime bosses would be like, and when the deed is done, send me a picture. You know, like people always want evidence of, I guess, what they paid for happening, which I guess you paid for it. You want to see what goes on, but she wants to see him. She wants to see his trash. Anyways, moving on. You guys notice that he didn't even get the last end of the letter K for killed out before she was like, ah! She's not the best actor, but anyways, let's start this clip over.
You want us to find his killer, okay? We need you to calm down. I'm gonna need you to go with these detectives, okay? Does he have enemies? Is there anyone that would want to hurt him? Okay, who would want to hurt him? Witnesses said they saw a black male running from me. I can't let you see him, ma'am. Ma'am, I cannot do this right now. Ma'am, I can't do it. Detective Yopi, I need you to take her to the station. I can't. Ma'am, go with these detectives. If you want to help your husband, okay? If you want to help your husband, you need to go to the station with these gentlemen and tell us everything you know about who he knows, who he's connected to. Don't worry, we've already taken care of dogs with animal control for right now. Everything's under control. And we'll take care of everything else, okay? Thank you, guys.
She says, I want to see my husband and all this. And I feel like the police officer that's with her at the time of this video, I feel like he's a little bit holding back some kind of chuckle because he's trying to be profesh, as one should. And I feel like he's just trying really hard not to be like, ma'am, stop. We all know what goes on here. But he stays professional. He's like, if you want to help, you got to calm down. And so she feigns calming down, which I think is just because she, you know, if she would pass out if she wasn't in that state and she was breathing that way, she would have passed out. So I think that's ultimately why she calmed down. So that's just assumption on my part. She then starts asking about her dogs, which is fair because if something went down at my house and I knew my dogs were home, I guess my second question, apart from if Jeff was home, I would ask, where are my dogs? Because they're my babes. I'll show you guys my pups at the end of the video if you haven't seen them. They're so cute. If you guys haven't seen Old School, this is kind of what her acting is like and all that. Let me show you.
I'm really sorry.
I'm really sorry.
We need to get your husband's killer, ma'am.
A few minutes later, Boynton Beach detectives ushered Dalia into a police interrogation room.
At this time, she believes that we're investigating the fact that her husband was killed, and we still make her want to believe that she's not a suspect. And we give her an opportunity to talk to us and give us some information to assist us in the investigation.
Although still tearful, Dalia did her best to help.
And she starts going through all of this. You know, my husband was into shady things, and she gives all these reasons why people would want to have him killed.
He's been trying to get off probation, and it's just been nothing but problems the whole time that he's been trying to get off. People weren't happy that he was getting off probation.
She talks about how her husband had enemies.
Meanwhile, Michael was in the next room, watching everything unfold on a...
The police officer asks, does he have any enemies? Is there anybody that you know of that would want your husband to not be alive anymore? And she was like, he's on probation. So every time someone asks her about her husband's dealing, she's like, he's on probation. And I'm sorry. I mean, I've never been on probation, but being on probation doesn't necessarily mean you have enemies. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there, obviously. But according to Dalia, if you're on probation, then you have enemies that want to unalive you. That's her story.
Circuit
currently.
video monitor.
I'm just watching it, and they're like asking questions to me. Did you know? And I'm like, no. I said, trust me, I had no idea.
He loved her, and he was blinded by that.
But watching Dalia in the interrogation room, trying to divert suspicion from herself, he wasn't blind anymore.
That was Michael's aha moment. It all came together for him, and he realized, aha, Dalia's the one.
I feel like I would have had an aha moment well before this, but good for Mike for finally ahaing, because according to basically anyone that's ever had any dealings with Dalia, she was very persuasive. And so I'm glad he kind of just finally broke away from her. I don't even know what to call it. Whatever her manipulative antics were, I'm glad he kind of like stumbled back from it and is like, oh, that's not normal. So now it was all coming together for Mike, right? He's slowly realizing, man, it probably was her. My woman's intuition before, when I would question her and she would just get mad and create a scene to deflect from what it was that I was actually talking about, it all makes sense now. I need Mike to do better. Ultimately, what it comes down to is she wanted his money and she didn't want him and she didn't want to have to wait for anything. And so when her fella friend in New York couldn't essentially get him on probation violation because of all these like drugs that kept being found on his person and his property, then she had to level up and she turned to her other friend Muhammad, and all this went down. So now she was in police custody and they had all these questions, and I'll give it to her. She stuck to her story. She was like, this is my story and I'm sticking to it and I don't care what you say. This is what happened, which is wild. I've seen a billion interrogation videos, not a billion, but you know what I mean. I've seen a lot of interrogation videos, and usually suspects crack at some point, but not Dalia. No. She stuck to it. She was like, nope. I don't know what you're saying.
That was Michael's aha moment. It all came together for him, and he realized, aha, Dalia's the one that's been behind all these mysterious anonymous calls to the police.
I wasn't happy about it, but it was a little bit of relief.
And when it came to his wife's performance, the ex-con was even a little impressed.
I gotta give the girl credit. Like, she didn't crack, you know? Like, she sat there and sat quiet, which I can't even believe it.
But how would Dalia react when the detectives brought in the fictional hitman in handcuffs?
I put my head down. Well, I'm sorry, I failed you type deal. And because at that point, she still didn't know whether I was a cop or not.
You know who this guy is?
No.
You've never seen him before?
I've never seen him before, ever.
I said, wow, you know, but she played that very well.
But moments later, the detectives let Dalia in on the secret. She was the one being played.
That's an undercover police officer. We filmed everything that you did, recorded everything that you did. You're going to jail for solicitation of first-degree murder of your husband.
I didn't do anything.
Did you hear what I just told you?
I heard what you said, but I didn't
Everything, listen to me. Everything has been recorded. You were photographed When you sat in his car,
She did not react to that. I mean, she was, I think, in shock. It still didn't register in her head what was going on.
She just keeps telling them that she wants to go home, and that she didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't do anything.
tell me you didn't do anything.
I didn't do anything.
You're going to jail today.
Then, as the detectives cuffed Dalia and placed her under arrest, they brought Michael to the doorway of the interrogation room.
Oh my God.
He's alive.
Come here, please. Come here. Mike, come here. Come here, please. Come here.
She wanted him to come inside the room, and of course, he wouldn't.
I didn't do anything to you. Mike, come here, please. Come here.
Okay. We'll take her back to both of you, please. Come on.
Can you imagine being Mike in the other room, just hearing for the first time that your maybe suspicions from before are true, much less that your wife that you had no idea was an actual crazy person? Like, how would that even sit in your brain with all of this? So anyways, then he has the chance to like walk past her door when she's being like cuffed and led away. I wouldn't have missed this opportunity either. But it's amazing that she's still like indignant about it. She's like, oh, Mike, come here. Come here. I feel like she just knew that if she could get just physical touch on him, like she could get her hands on him, that she could weasel her way out of it. It'd be fine. It'd be dandy. And all of this would just go away. But
she was booked on solicitation charges.
Either
she was
didn't
booked
or
on
couldn't.
solicitation charges. The detectives brought Dalia back to the interrogation room for another statement.
I actually ended up interviewing her to see if she would come, clean with what happened.
The answer was no.
Why did you want Michael killed?
I never said I wanted him killed.
Yes, you did. It's on tape.
I didn't say.
It's on tape a lot, so you did.
I didn't say that I wanted him killed. I didn't.
In the face of copious physical evidence, she continues to deny.
And her denial continued even when confronted with actual audio of her conversation with the undercover officer.
Was that your voice
You
or
guys
not?
are treating me like a criminal, and I'm not.
You guys are treating me like a criminal. I'm not. Like, yes, you are. Like, she's the gaslightiest person. And I'm not here for any buzzwords or people to be offended for anything, but it's honestly shocking how stick to the plan she is.
I'm not that kind of person. I'm just not.
In that instant, you can see the level of delusion that she is operating under.
But there was one thing that Dalia could not continue to delude herself about.
If I'm not going home, then I'd like to speak with an attorney, please.
Okay, there you go.
That's fine. All right, based on that statement, this isn't in our interview, okay? You understand?
Can I please still make my phone call?
After making her phone call, the Boynton Beach police walked Dalia out in handcuffs and placed her in the patrol car that would take her to the Palm Beach County Jail.
So after all this goes down, she's actually booked. She's taken in. She has her fingerprints taken. And she goes down to jail, which had to be a wake-up call because Dalia doesn't get in trouble for anything. I think, honestly, her mom probably bailed her out of every instance of her should have been in trouble, like, throughout her life. And if she had just a little bit of consequences along the way, maybe her story would be different. Granted, I'm not a parent yet, and I can't know what happens between these parents and their children. I'm just going off of my perception, but I'm perceiving that if she had been told no at any point in her life before this time, and if she had a little bit more, I guess, boundaries as both a child and, a realized grown-up adult person, that things may have been different. Who's to say? After she's taken in from the interrogation and she gets like booked in and all that, she calls Mike. And this is one of the most hilarious things because Mike's like, I feel like he's not having it, but also he wants to know what she's gonna say. I would want to know what could you possibly have to say to me now at this point? Well, what? And so this is quite a hilarious call where you see more of her full delusion and entitlement, and it's bad. Anyways.
Yeah, what's up? Nothing, Mike. Please come here. Hey, listen, I don't want to fight with you. Honestly, I can't help you. Don't you understand what just happened? What they're saying is not true. How is that possible? Like, I'm sitting here. It's not true. It's not possible. You wouldn't even give me 2 minutes to talk to you, but it's not possible. What they're saying is not true. How in the hell did I hear it and see it? Like, I heard what you heard. It's not true. I heard what you heard and I saw what you saw. Everything they showed you, they showed me. And how is it not? How are you telling me that? I am giving you my word that it's not true.
The audaciousness that she thinks that her word matters at this point. Like, if you saw someone that you know, a significant other, a friend, whatever, you recognize them on camera. Granted, AI is doing crazy stuff now, but back then in 2009, there wasn't AI like that. I mean, if it was, it wouldn't be where she could get her hands on it. And so for her to be like, I know, I saw what you saw. I heard what you heard, and it wasn't me. It's not true. It's not possible. How is it not possible? What do you mean it's not possible? Ugh. I feel like he's a little bit too lenient with her on this, but I also think that maybe it's because maybe the police are there with him, like, okay, don't get mad, just hear her out. Let's try to get her on tape saying something. So just keep her cool. Like, that would be the only way that his tone is this calm given the circumstances. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I couldn't help it if I wanted to. Like, please, I need an attorney. Can you please help me? That's not true. Your brother was here and I spoke to him. He's going to go talk to your mom. I called things for you already, right? Well, everybody knows where you're at. I took care of it. I know that. I need your help, okay? This is not true. I understand it too. Look, how do you explain what I saw and heard? Like, when I'm on my phone call, you know more than anybody. It's not true. Just give me time so I can talk to you. What did you say? I saw it. I heard it. I saw what you saw and I heard what you heard. Okay, you said you wanted to have me killed. I heard that. It's not true. That is not. How is it not true? How can you believe that? I heard your voice. How can you believe it? What is the point? I heard you say it. It's not. I heard what you heard, and it's not. What did I hear then? I heard you say. I heard the tape. Okay, I heard the tape, and I saw pictures, and I saw the whole 9 yards. I saw all of it. So why would you meet a white guy in a parking lot? Explain that. I'm sitting here on the phone. I will tell you when I see you in person. Please. I can't come there anyway. I'm not allowed there. That's not true. Who said that? They tell you that on purpose. It's not true. I don't know what you could tell me. Even if, let's pretend that, oh, it's all better. I can't, they're charging your ass. Don't you get it? Like, I didn't do anything. Please. I don't know what to say to you. I can't help you. It's out of my hands. You're not even trying.
I don't know if Florida is one of those states where if like the police witness it or involved some type of way that like the police department can charge you instead of like the actual victim. So it could be true that there's nothing he can do because the police are pressing the charges, not him. But in any case, how, what is in your head that you're like, I mean, I know I a little bit tried to get this man unalived, but I'm still going to call him for help because he's going to believe me, because it's just not true. All the things that you saw and heard, I saw and heard, therefore they're not true. And all Mike wants is like an explanation. Give me some rationale. Give me something I can wrap my head around in order to justify what I saw and heard, because his brain, I assume, is going a million miles an hour in all kinds of crazy directions. And all she can say is, I saw what you saw, I heard what you heard, and it's not true. You have to believe me. Of anybody, you should know that I wouldn't do this. And which, after studying this case, I feel like you're the only person that could have done. Oh, and she's like, you're not even trying. Like, what? It breaks my brain a little bit to try to figure out, like, what is okay, so I always try to figure out what's happening in other people's brains when I watch these kinds of cases. And this is one of those where I'm like, I don't even know where to start with this. I don't know what planet she's on during this conversation.
What am I supposed to do? You know, one thing after another, one thing after another. You can't explain this one. You know? Come on, man. What do you make me day? You met a guy in the parking lot. Okay, you did it yesterday. I took you right before order though because of your thing, because of this, because of that. Every time I am here for you. Every single time, and there's no denying that. So why would you meet a guy in the parking lot and hand him $1,200 and say, yes, I want him dead? I gave $1,200. Period. So how did they get your voice on that tape recorder? I'm limited with my time, please. Okay? Can you please help my mom? Please.
So every time he forces her into direct questions like, how do you explain this? How do you tell me why I heard you? Tell me why I saw you. Tell me how this and this and this. She just goes back to, oh, I can't talk to you about this right now. I'm limited on time. And so what? She always ends up like talking well beyond what could have been her explanation era. Like, she had plenty of time to tell him something other than, I saw what you saw, I heard what you heard, and it wasn't me, and it's not true.
What can I do? You can get me time. Is she gonna call me? No, why would she call you? Call my mom. I did call her already. I spoke to her, and she didn't believe anything I said, and I didn't say anything bad. I let her know. You didn't want to help her. I already talked to my mom. You didn't offer to help her. You just said, okay, well, you know, whatever. You gotta be kidding me, man. Look, Dalia, I heard you say that shit. Like, I'm telling you right now, okay? You can't fix it.
You can't fix it. What is, I'm telling you right now, or saying a statement and then saying period behind it, going to further like inflect your point onto someone else. Like, the level of delusion is fully astonishing.
Look, Dalia, I heard you say that shit. Like, I'm telling you right now, okay? You can't fix it. You don't listen to me. You need to get your lawyer. Your mom's gonna get you.
You can tell when someone has like fake emotion when they can snap out of it so easily. Not that I am a body language expert, but I do watch a lot of body language stuff. And it said that when someone can just jump emotions so quickly and easily, enter Amber Heard on trial, then it's not a true emotion and you shouldn't take it as such. And in this particular clip, she's like, please, you have to help me. Call my mom. I need an attorney. You're not even trying to help me. And he's like, what's up with that safety deposit box? And she's like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, is that where you're hiding my money? Because she stole about $100,000 from him. And so now he found out she has a secret safety deposit box. And he's like, is that where my money is? And she's like, no, it's just papers. Which, I mean, a lot of people have papers in safety deposit boxes. but most of the time it is cash, valuables, jewelry, and stuff that you don't want anyone else to get their hands on. So it's well within normal thought processes that if you have a safety deposit box and you've been stealing money, that's probably where the money is. So I don't blame Mike at all for this jump to conclusion.
And what do you take your deposit fees? What do they do? My money?
No, it's paper. What are you talking about?
The keys they found in your purse. Was that where my money's hiding right now?
No, they're just regular papers.
No. They were safety deposit keys. I know what it feels like.
Right, and it's got papers. That's it.
Well, listen. I don't know how you're going to actually have the nerve to sit here and lie to me now. I don't understand. Like, I heard you say it, Dalia. I saw your mouth do it. Okay? I can't help you even if I wanted to. Do you get it?
Why don't you want to?
It's out of my hands.
You're not even trying. It's different if you're...
Why don't you want to? Because you tried to have me killed? It's out of my hands. You're not even trying. Can you imagine the entitlement, the audacity, the everything of trying to have someone taken out, and when it doesn't work, asking them to get you an attorney to get out of the trouble that you're in from hiring said hitman.
You're trying. You're not even trying.
What can I possibly do for you? I don't get it. What can I do?
You're not even trying.
Trying what? I'm sitting here like a dumbass.
Okay, they're getting ready to put me again.
Dalia, I'm going to give you some advice, and you need to listen. You're going to be lying around in there for a little while, a couple days. You need to just try and relax and just go with it. And keep to yourself and don't say a lot.
I love you. Everybody treated me awful, and I couldn't do anything to you. You killed me. I didn't want to do anything awful to me.
I can't help you. There's nothing I can do to help you. You know? You know what I'll do? You know what I'll do for you? Seriously? What? You sign my house back over to me. I'll help you, Mom, immensely. Give me my house back. That's it.
That's it, what?
I'll help you. So I don't have to go through the legal bullshit I have to go through already.
What does that mean?
It means sign my property back to me that you stole, basically.
That's what you're thinking, and I didn't steal anything.
Alright, so listen. I'll have the papers sent over to you somehow. You'll sign them over to me, and then I will help your mother. Okay?
I'm not signing anything.
I know you wouldn't sign anything. I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I can't help you.
That's what you're worried about. I'm sitting here watching. You're thinking about...
Stop having me killed.
That's not true.
You're a liar. You're a liar.
What is your mom saying?
She's not saying shit. She's sitting there. What's my mom saying? Check it out. My mom, your mom, everybody's mom, all out of it. You know where you're sitting right now? That's the reality. I can't fix it. I just offered to help you, and again, you have the balls to say no to me. Okay? Then I can't help you.
How do I believe you're going to help me if I do that?
Because you know why? Because I'm the one person on the phone that's ever done what they said they were going to do. Me. Okay?
How do I believe that?
I don't say shit. I just said I'd help you. Okay? You just basically said you to me, which is hilarious considering your situation and considering what the fuck has happened today. Have your mom call me. I'll talk to her about it. I told you what I do. I'll fix it. I'll help you. You gotta do the right thing. Alright? That's it.
I know Mike's done some pretty bad stuff, and he definitely deserves to have, gone to prison, and definitely should pay restitution to these people that he swindled. But he is so much more likable in this than Dalia. You know what I mean? They're both at one point in their lives shady characters, but I feel like Mike Dippolito did his time. He actually owned up to his crimes while in court and was like, I did it, my bad, let me make it right. And he's working towards it. And she messed it up. She stole the money that he was saving to make it right with these people. But anyways, I digress. How bizarre is it that she's still so, what can you do for me, while she's in jail for attempting to have this man that's the only one that's trying to help her on the phone, which I can't believe he's even tolerating it. But I mean, I guess so, because he's trying to get his house back without having to go through a whole bunch of like legal hoops. But still, like, I don't know if I would have even given her this amount of time. I would have answered her call because I would want to know what she'd have to say. Like, as soon as she started getting fully delusional, I'd just shut it down, which I guess is what he is ultimately doing a little bit, you know? Mike hangs up with her. She calls her mom back, and Mike already said that he talked to her and he's going to try to help her and whatnot. And so when they get off the phone, she calls her mom.
Mom, I'm in jail. I know, Dalia. I know. I find out. I need you to call Mike in New York. Okay, who do you want me to call? I need you to call Mike in New York, please.
What she's asking for right here is for her mom to call Mike in New York. And Mike in New York is Mike Stanley, who she runs to a lot to bail her out, to send her money. And she's the one, he's the one that she was sending all those like raunchy text messages to that I showed you guys earlier in this video.
I called already and I called that. Everybody knows. What is it you want me to do? Where are you exactly? I'm in the county jail. I need you to call. What did Mike say? Is he coming? Everybody's coming, Dalia. We're going to go ahead and get your lawyer, okay? Don't worry. Don't worry. Where are you? Are you in Gun Club? Yes, I'm here. Mom, Mike said this to me. Okay.
So Gun Club is like the jail that she's being housed in. That's just what it's called. And how crazy is it that she's like, Mike did this to me? Mike did what? Like, if I was her mom, I would have a couple of questions. Like, how did Mike do something to you that you are in trouble for? Like, what is her mom thinking that Mike would have done to her? Like, just filed a false report? Like, what? I don't understand what she's talking about. Anyway, moving on.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get it. They showed me pictures. They showed me a tape. I did not do anything. How did they set you up like that? How did they? I did not do anything. Okay, all right, I understand. We're going to go ahead and get a lawyer, okay? What did Mike say? Mike is coming. That is coming. Everybody is aware. Everybody is aware, okay? I'm going to go ahead and get in touch with you, all right? I'm going to find, where are you? You in Gun Club? Yes, I'm here in Gun Club, and I heard Mike is at the house. I want him out of my house. Okay, well, right now we're going to need to have a lawyer first, okay? It's my house. The title's in my name. All right, okay, don't worry about that right now. Right now we need to find out what is going on. Where did it happen? Where? Where did what happen? It happened this morning. This morning, Mom. I was at the gym this morning. I got a phone call from a detective. The detective told me to come to the house. I came running to the house. There was tape everywhere. The door was open, and they told me that Mike was dead. And they told me that I couldn't see him. I couldn't see the dogs. I couldn't see anybody. They said to me, please, I wanted to call you. I wanted to call his mom. I wanted to call everybody, and they told me no. They told you that Mike was dead? Yes. They told me Mike was dead. How come they saying that you met somebody in the gas station? No. They told me Mike was dead. They were at my house this morning. And then I left with the officers to help them try to see who did it. How many times did I told you to leave that guy? How many times did I tell you that, Dalia? Okay, I understand. I understand. All right, we're taking care of it, okay? When is Mike coming? Everybody's coming. Everybody's coming. Everybody's coming now, Dalia. Everybody's coming now, Mom. Okay.
When she's like, I know you didn't. I know. That's a lot of the voice that I talk to my dogs with. Like, if we're at the park and another dog gets a little bit too hype with my dogs and they come over to me for like a break, I'm like, I know, it's too crazy. I know. Mom almost sounds exhausted of her a little bit there at the end. She's like, I told you, everybody's coming now. I called everybody. I called your dad. I called Mike's mom. I called Mike in New York. I called the Pope. Not really, but You know what I mean? Like, she's doing what she can for her daughter, which I don't blame her for. I mean, most parents don't think that their children are capable of such things. I mean, I feel like it's a little bit mom's fault for not teaching her daughter some act right sooner. That's beside the point. Ultimately, this Mike Stanley guy that's in New York, her ex that she was seeing when she started dating Mike Dippolito, she would call him a lot for a lot of the reasons that I showed you earlier. And here's some text messages between her and Mike.
Text messages between Dippolito and a boyfriend texted in the weeks leading up to the murder plot. Dalia, love you so much and I love the way you are with me. I love the attention. Boyfriend, I'm glad. Baby, you are numero uno. Really, and I always want to show you. Dippolito planned a fake meeting at the courthouse, tricking her husband into signing their house into her name only. Dalia, need someone professional to meet me and Mike at the Miami courthouse at 2 and act like a legal secretary and take a paper from us. I'll pay them $500. Michael Dippolito's divorce lawyers say the text messages only bolster their case.
Clearly show that the entire marriage was a fraud, that Dalia's sole intent the entire time was to take Michael's house, take his money, and dispose of him at whatever cost necessary.
The lawyers say while Michael Dippolito thought he was headed for a fairy tale marriage, Dalia was texting thoughts of love to another. Dalia, soulmates is what we are. We are meant to be together. Do you know I have baby names picked out? I want your child in me. Boyfriend, please don't. I love you, and you know I want that when you're ready. Dalia, I want you, baby. You're my true love. Let me make you happy forever. And then the texts show her trying to get her husband arrested by planting drugs in his car. Dalia, I love you, just want my life with you. Let's get this mother arrested. I'm so tired of his blank. We need to strategize the drugs. Baby, we need to make this happen with his arrest by the weekend. I need to be with you, hate being away from you. Text messages between Dippolito and a boyfriend texted in the weeks leading up to the murder plot. Dalia, love you so much and I love the way you are with me. I love the attention. Boyfriend, I'm glad. Baby, you are numero uno. Really, and I always want to show you. Dippolito planned a fake meeting at the courthouse, tricking her husband into signing their house into her name only. Dalia, need someone professional to meet me and Mike at the Miami courthouse at 2 and act like a legal secretary and take a paper from us. I'll pay them $500. Michael Dippolito's divorce lawyers say the text messages only bolster their case.
Clearly show that the entire marriage was a fraud, that Dalia's sole intent the entire time was to take Michael's house, take his money, and dispose of him at whatever cost necessary.
The lawyers say while Michael Dippolito thought he was headed for a fairy tale marriage, Dalia was texting thoughts of love to another. Dalia, soulmates is what we are. We are meant to be together. Do you know I have baby names picked out? I want your child in me. Boyfriend, please don't. I love you, and you know I want that when you're ready. Dalia, I want you, baby. You're my true love. Let me make you happy forever. And then the texts show her trying to get her husband arrested by planting drugs in his car. Dalia, I love you, just want my life with you. Let's get this mother arrested. I'm so tired of his blank. We need to strategize the drugs. Baby, we need to make this happen with his arrest by the weekend. I need to be with you, hate being away from you.
Shady, right? I can't imagine doing that to anybody, much less the person that I've vowed to spend the rest of my life with. But Mike Stanley was apparently in on most of it, which I don't understand why he wasn't charged with anything, because who do I know? She turned to Mike way before all those like weird things started happening with the PO coming by and all that. Mike couldn't get her problem solved. She turned to Muhammad, which is another person she was hooking up with. And that's when the unaliving for hire plot came into play. Just a little something that I want to add into this point. She was hanging out with him and he got out of the car and took a gun from his glove box, and he came back and was like, Dalia, you don't want to do that. He's pretty sure that she was gonna like frame him, allegedly. April 2011 is when the trial began against Dalia for the murder for hire scheme. And the defense that she brought about in this first trial was, hey, I wasn't trying to kill him, really. This was just for TV. It was sensationalized because we were into reality TV shows, and Mike's always wanted to be on reality TV. And therefore, this is what we were doing to kind of get on reality TV, which is so stupid and bizarre. The court case got really entertaining when Dalia's defense attorney was doing some like cross-examination with Mike, because he wasn't having it, because all they really brought up was that Mike was a past felon. So why are you even believing him? And they essentially were trying to defame the victim in order to win their case, and Mike wasn't having none of it.
You know, because he wouldn't stop looking over at us. You know, if you were staring at me, I'd think you were a weird guy.
Okay. Well, I'm staring at you now, so am I weird?
No, you're like a parrot.
A parrot?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I've been called a lot of things. What's a parrot?
You know. Come on.
You're winking at the judge. He doesn't know what you mean. What do you mean?
Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? Did you do that on probation? Were you on probation? You know what I'm talking about. I'm just having fun with you. Come on, I'm with you.
You having fun with me? Let me ask you something. Is this fun, Mr. Dippolito?
This sucks.
Okay. Was it fun when you got arrested?
No.
Was it fun when you went through court?
Horrible.
Okay. So, is there anything funny about this proceeding at all, Mr. Dippolito?
The questions you're asking me, some of them, yeah.
You don't like them, do you?
It's ridiculous. We're not here because of me. Well, I might as well. You might as well put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Dippolito.
Well,
I mean, it's valid. He's not on trial for the attempted assassination of himself. She is. So why? I mean, I understand that, you know, defense attorneys, especially if they're court appointed, which I'm not even sure if that's the case in this case, they can only work with what they got, and they have to make a case somehow, some type of way. And that's just the direction that they went with, even though I feel like it was a stupid direction. They're trying to say that Mike's a felon and a liar, and he just wanted to be on reality TV, and he was in on it.
Put me up next. I mean, what are we doing here?
Well, wait a minute, Mr. Dippolito.
Well,
you're a Well, you started it. You're a prosecution witness. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And you took an oath when you were placed on probation.
Again.
You are presumptively telling the truth, right?
Yes.
But you've admitted that you're a liar, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been dishonest. Yes.
Not just when you committed your crimes, but while you're on probation, too. You're lying to your probation officer like it's nothing.
Okay.
Is that, no, not okay. I guess it's okay with you to lie to your probation officer. But my question is that something you don't take serious either?
I take it very serious.
Obviously.
I wonder what this defense attorney is doing nowadays, you know? Is he still practicing? Has this case just ruined him in the eyes of, like, the court for other people? Because it's a stretch, right? To say, because Mike had been in trouble before, obviously Dalia couldn't have tried to have him taken out now. Duh. I would have been right on Team Mike, like, what are we doing here? Why are we talking about me? This is about her trying to have me offed. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours, and they came back with a guilty verdict, and she was sentenced to 20 years, actually, for this attempted hit. And that was supposed to be the end of it.
The way you were presenting this, and it was quite chilling to witness that. Based upon those factors, then, Ms. Dippolito, I'll accept the verdict of the jury. I'll find you guilty. I'll adjudicate you guilty. And I'm sentencing you to 20 years in the Department of Corrections. I'll give you credit for all the time that you've been on in-house arrest. I'll subtract that out. I'm not obligated to do that, but I'll give you credit for that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So that would be from the day of arrest. So from the day of arrest through today's date, we'll come off of the sentence. And I wish you well. I hope things turn around for you. I hope you're able to make something of your life. You're a young woman. You'll get out of prison. You'll be a changed person. And hopefully you will take that opportunity at that time to to make the most out of what remains ahead of you. I don't think restitution is appropriate. I'm not sure that, let me do it this way. I'll order restitution. I'll let you all flesh that out. I don't think that there's enough of a nexus between the crime and the money lost by Mr. Dippolito. As much as my heart goes out to him, I think he was fleeced as a gullible husband, but I don't think that it's a matter of restitution. But for the record, I'll say restitution, parties to either agree to an amount. Otherwise, I'll reserve jurisdiction on that for 30 days. If nobody approaches me, the amount of restitution will be zero. What I'd be interested in is first from the state proving an entitlement to restitution. I don't think you are, but I'll leave the door open for you. I'll also impose the mandatory court costs and I'll reduce that to a judgment. Anything else, State, that you wish?
I feel like he should have got a little bit of restitution. Like, she did, as he said, fleece him for quite a bit of money. If someone took $30 from me, I would want restitution, let alone 90,000 or whatever it was. I think he should have gotten restitution. But I mean, that's a matter of opinion, not a matter of the law. I don't know what the law is around that, but she was sentenced to 20 years. She actually appealed this verdict and got a second court date because they said that there was a juror that was improperly selected, which I don't know what that actually means. I just didn't do a lot of research on that part. So if you guys know, leave me a comment down in the description box under this video, because I'm sure you guys know a lot more about a lot of things than I do. Ugh. Ugh. Okay. The case is thrown out. She got awarded a second trial, and her attorneys and everybody got set to go to trial again for the second court date. They did things a little bit differently this time. They stopped with this reality TV defense. And this time they said that the police department inflated everything that was going on and they rushed the investigation and all this, all because of the cops TV show that was there. So they were saying that the crime scene where, you know, Mike was supposed to have been was extravagantly done and it was all staged extra for the TV show, and everything should get thrown out because things are embellished and there's misconduct.
Video of Dalia Dippolito crying into an officer's arms, thinking her husband was dead.
The 2009 crime scene was staged, police said. An informant came to them saying Dalia had hired him to kill her husband.
3 trials later, a conviction today. The Boynton Beach woman immediately fingerprinted and handcuffed.
Live team coverage tonight on what swayed the jury and the time Dalia could serve. We begin with Michelle Casada.
Dalia Dippolito called out for her mom as a deputy tried to take her into custody. 6 jurors found Dippolito guilty of hiring a hitman in 2009 to kill her then-husband, Mike Dippolito.
We're obviously devastated.
Dippolito's defense team celebrated what was a victory for them in December when jurors were deadlocked in Dippolito's second trial. What changed the outcome of this trial? Her attorneys say prosecutors presented prior so-called bad acts that were kept out of previous trials.
This alleged planting of drugs on Mike Dippolito, this issue of allegedly poisoning Mike Dippolito.
State prosecutors Laura Laurie and Craig Williams hugged out their victory in the courtroom. A statement from the state attorney's office said, "We are pleased that the hard work and perseverance of our prosecutors and staff have led to justice for this victim." Dippolito's ex-husband was called to testify for this trial. He did not testify in the last, but Dalia's lawyers don't think that made the difference.
This case was about demonizing Dalia Dippolito.
Mike Dippolito not publicly speaking till after sentencing. He released this statement, "I'm 5,000% happy that justice was served once again." Mike playing off the infamous comment Dippolito makes when a hitman asked her if she was sure she wanted to go through with the murder for hire plot.
I'm positive, like 5,000% sure.
Dippolito's lawyers argued police misconduct throughout the trial, saying detectives pressured the confidential informant and rushed the investigation to be featured on a cops TV show. They say they will try to appeal the verdict.
We're ready to fight. This fight's not over.
The second case, the jury came back ultimately with a 3-3 hung jury. And so then they had to prepare for a trip to court number 3. Between court case number 2 and court case number 3, Dalia met a new friend. And this new friend's name was Robert Davis. Looks like this. And this guy was no good. I mean, whatever. He was a handyman, and he was probably one of the only people outside of her attorneys that she had any interaction with, like between the court cases. And so she just used her feminine wiles on him. And that's an assumption on my part. Anyway, she ended up pregnant, and she was pregnant with a little baby boy. It's my opinion, and many others on the tube, that she got knocked up on purpose for a sympathy vote. But, you know, who's to say what someone's intentions are when, you know, they get pregnant? Maybe it was an accident. Maybe she did it on purpose. Maybe she really liked the guy. Who knows? I don't know. The third trial started in 2017, which wasn't that long ago. And in this trial, they just scrapped their defense on the last trial and the trial before. And all they focused on in this trial was basically Mike Dippolito's arrest record and just saying that he's just an untrustworthy guy. At the end of their closing arguments, they were like, and also Dalia's pregnant, so she's not that bad, and you should just not convict her because she has a little baby at home she has to take care of. Ultimately, that calculated move didn't matter, and they found her guilty. They gave her a 16-year sentence after this trial, set to be released in 2032. That's where Dalia is now. Mike found a new love, and this is them. And Muhammad passed away in late 2021. I'm not sure what of. I know that was the era of the vid, but I don't know if that's what he passed of or from. That was when he passed. And word on the street is that Mike Stanley, New York Mike, also passed away. I don't have like full confirmation of this. I don't know that that's fact for sure, but I know it's a word on the street. And that's kind of the story of Dalia Dippolito and Mike Dippolito, the short version. If I were to do a longer version, it would have taken so long. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. This was a rough video, I know. And I know you guys have waited so long for this video to post. I've been doing what I can to get it done in a timely manner, but life's gonna life, and unfortunately just ran into a lot of hiccups this time. However, I will learn from my mistakes on this case and make proper adjustments for the next one. Also, hopefully I won't have a cold on the next one, so you won't have to listen to me sniffle and watch me wipe my nose through the whole video. I am so thankful that you guys were able to sit in and see what this video is about. I hope you learned something. I hope you were entertained. If you want to see any of the videos that I use for sources, I'll list those and all of my references down in the description box below this video. And if you want to see the full process video of how I did this piece, I will also link that down in the description box after I get it edited. This video will become live before the other ones because it's been very anticipated. I'm also looking for ideas on what I should do for my next case. So if you have ideas on what you would like me to do on my next case, please leave me a comment below on what you would like me to do and what kind of artwork you would be interested in me doing. I want to know your guys' thoughts. And so, yeah, I thank you guys for watching. If you would like to see more from me, please subscribe, leave me your thumbs, be kind to one another because you never know what someone's going through. And always remember that we do the research on these fun stories so you don't have to. But if you want to, I am, again, linking all of the everything in the description box below this video. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is very rough. If you want to see an overhead view and verbal telling of what I'm doing each step to create this tumbler, I will link that video down in the description below once I get it edited, which I will be doing tonight. Fun. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching and seeing what this is all about. I promise the next one will have a different
layout, different vibe. I want to try a few different things so I can see what you guys like best, what works best. And so I'm looking forward to see what you guys have to say about it. Anyways, we'll see you guys the next time. Bye.